Yes. Good morning, everybody. It is Friday. You may not have thought that Friday was going to be this soon, but here it is. I mean, you really only started the week on the Tuesday, so can't complain too much. It is another day of me sounding like I smoke cigarettes every morning, but I assure you I do not. Although I don't know. I mean, maybe this is how my voice is going to be from now on, you know? Maybe I'll sound like one of those real old-time DJs. You know, the guys who used to smoke a pack in the morning just before they'd start their show, and they'd sound like that the whole way through the day and die of lung cancer at 42. Maybe that's what I'm going to look forward to. Who knows? Going to be joined in a moment by the lovely Leigh-Ann Mole and by one of my favorite people in the whole world. And I'm really happy we got him on this morning. Eugene Koza. That's right. Fantastic. Welcome to everybody. I see lots of good mornings and good mornings and good mornings. Here is our former intern, Mfundo, who I haven't spoken to in ages. I hope you're good, my man. Mfundo obviously is from KZN, so I'm wondering if your friends and family are all okay after all that flooding and everything, dude. Let us know, because he definitely knows that part of the world better than probably anybody. That was where we first met him. And Fundo, if your family and friends are okay after all the flooding, then I'll be happy to hear it. So let us know. And there are a lot of other people on this morning. Morning Tabo, morning Gary. Gary saying this is my late R&B voice. That's my late R&B sneeze. Woo! Lucky you. On a Friday, that's what you get. All right, let me just welcome this man with open arms. Jesus, I haven't seen him in a long time. I'm so happy to see this dude. Eugene Koza.
Hey, Gareth. How you doing, man?
How are you, you fantastic human being? What are you up to, man? Ages. Jesus. Look at this.
Every time someone calls and says Gareth wants to do something, I'm like, say no more, fam.
Oh,
anytime, anything for Gareth. I even wore pants for you this morning.
I'm so
that was the longest debate I had was am I wearing pants or not? Then I thought to myself, pants. Then when I got to socks, I was like, you've gone too far now. Why are we debating this? Just wear the damn socks.
How are you? How's everybody? How's the Koza household?
Everything is fantastic, man. I'm having the best time ever. I never thought I would be having this much fun in life, and I'm here now.
I'm so
fantastic.
Happy. I'm happy to
How are you doing?
I'm great. Dude, I have nothing to complain about. You know what? Wake up on a Friday morning, you're alive, you're happy, you're healthy, you're surrounded by people you love. Yes. I mean, what more can you ask? You know, obviously you could ask for $1 billion, but that's a bit greedy, I think. Maybe.
Then we can also make a bid for Chelsea and Twitter at the same time.
Yeah, right. And we could buy all of it and then just laugh at the world, because really what Elon Musk is doing is this is what you call fuck you money, right?
Yes,
that's what he's doing.
Yes,
and I have respect for that. I'm like, if I were a really rich person, I would do shit like this just to upset the apple cart, just to mess with people a little bit.
You know what's also funny is we expect people who are rich, powerful to be humble, which is a weird thing, because I think that's what Trump did. I think that's what Putin is doing. That's what yes, and I think Obama fell to that trap. I think Obama was nice and humble before he became president. Oh man, when he became president,
that stopped. Then he became the celebrity president all other presidents wanted to be, right?
Yes, /comedian roaster, making people feel insecure every time he showed up. I saw right through that.
And he was good at all of that shit, which made it even harder for people to understand, because he was such a natural. I mean, you put a camera in front of Obama, he just lit up. He should have, probably, if he wasn't, I mean, he should have. He was president of the United States. He was the most powerful man in the world. But as a second career, he could have gone into entertainment with his eyes closed.
He is already. Have you seen now he's doing some shows on Netflix, nature documentaries?
Oh, he's amazing. Jesus. The guy's good. And so is his wife. So is his wife. She's really good in front of a camera.
You know who's not good in front of the camera portraying his wife?
Joe
Viola
Biden.
Davis. Have you seen it?
Hey, you watched that? Oh my God! Okay, hang on. I want to bring Leigh-Ann Mole in. Hey, Leigh-Ann Mole, how are you, babe?
Feels like it's been ages. Hi, guys.
Hey, Leigh-Ann. So You want to hear a sad story? I mean, Eugene and I were starting the show. We're like, oh, we're so happy. We're so excited. Poor Leigh-Ann, you've had like 3 hours of power this whole week.
Yeah. And the funniest is I log my work by hour. So it's literally about 3 hours this week.
Oh, Jesus. What happened there?
Yeah.
You live in like the worst neighborhood in Joburg, or do you think the load shedding people just target you, especially you?
No, you know what? I was like living between 3 residences and just kept migrating.
Oh, God.
And then there was an explosion at a substation. You know, I don't know, but I'm here.
Have you thought
I
of
have
joining
power.
Operation Dudula?
So give her full-time employment, and she can chase some other guy who's from like Zim out of his house. Then at least she'll have a house, right, where she can sit
Chase anyone with an extension cord.
Right.
Cable thief.
So,
Not kidding.
speaking of extension cords and cable thieves, this came up on the show. Well, it came up after the show yesterday. I've got to bring this up. Somebody actually mentioned it in the comments earlier. So I'll explain. So Michael says, Gareth, that post you put up last night on Instagram about the plug socket, wait till you try and get past the safety spring. It's like trying to thumb in a soft cock. So I want to show you what he's talking about here. I don't know. Leigh-Ann, I don't know when last you tried to thumb in a soft cock, but I can tell you that's a mission. All right. So here it is.
Like putting a marshmallow into a toaster.
That's it. That's what it is. Right, so let me show you first of all what I mean about this this plug, so that you can get the idea. And if you're not watching us on YouTube this morning, this is the kind of thing that you're missing out on. You know, the sexiness of a plug. You know, I mean, this is what people line up around the block to see this shit, and you're not watching on YouTube. All right, so here it is. For some reason, you know, you've got those plugs. I think they call it a kettle plug, and people use it's on hair dryers mostly. It's the round one, and you get an adapter. You know which one I'm talking about, right?
Oh yes.
Okay, so can you see it now on the screen or not?
No,
Not yet.
Okay, I mean, I have to try and reload this thing. Anyway, you get those round ones. Now, when you go to the shops and you buy an adapter for this sort of shit, it comes in 2 forms. You get the one where it's just you have the 2 holes, and you just basically you put any 2-pin adapter in there. But they've made less and less of those. I don't know if they think maybe they think they're dangerous.
No, it's so strange. I have a hairdryer that I have to travel with my special adapter with.
Correct. Okay, so this is the thing I'm getting to. So I've got a couple of these plugs, and I've got a few things around the house, not a lot, but that you need these particular plugs for. So the problem is they now make these extensions or these adapters, and they've got these 2 little irritating fucking plastic things.
The side things.
The side things. And these sides, I do not understand these side things. I do not know why they do this to me. And it's driving me crazy. For some reason, I can't even upload this picture. It's driving me so crazy. But
That's how difficult they are.
Dude, the side things.
They've literally fucked up your whole life.
My whole life. And I cannot find an adapter that doesn't have the little side things. So people are sending me pictures. Let me just show you on Instagram. It's gonna drive me mad. So here it is. There's that plug right there.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
You see the side? You see those 2 things? Those 2 little plastic things that not the ones that the grooves of the plug go into.
They're basically devil horns.
They're devil horns. Someone says that's the north and south pole of puss. That's what someone said in the Instagram comment. Now, you have to get in there with an NT cutter or a pair of pliers and break them out so that you can use most plugs. And then I get only women commenting to me in the DMs, and they're saying, "Oh, but those are for hair dryers. That's why they have those, and they work perfectly because they keep the hair dryer in place." And I'm like, "You mean that?" So this plug's for one device only. So you only put a hair dryer in it. It drives me. It drives me up the wall.
I can attest to that, Gareth, because I do my daughter's hair. So I had to first put coconut oil on her hair. But the mistake that I haven't learned yet after all these years of doing this is plug the damn hair dryer in first before applying the coconut oil, because I struggled for years.
Oh yes. It's like
oh man.
I feel like Johnny Depp trying to get his meds, and I'm struggling
Yeah.
the whole day.
Jesus, poor Johnny Depp. We'll talk about that.
No.
Oh man,
So first, I've just got to say, lots of people
Yes.
are thrilled to see you again, Eugene. Pitlang here
Thank you so
saying,
much.
Anna Eugene, Osapela. Long time no see. Where have you been?
Osapela means he's still alive.
Yeah. But what they're talking about, because obviously all comedians for 2 years
Yes.
went underground, and some of them didn't make it. I mean, it's
Yeah.
really it's been fucking horrible, and we haven't had
But no
you on.
comedian died from COVID though.
Thank goodness, because otherwise comedy would have died.
That's funny.
we dodged that COVID bullet hard.
Oh man,
The recession took us down. Everything. COVID
what
was
did
like,
you-
nope.
what did you do? Because I mean, I know you have
doing-
other things, and you're not just doing the comedy anymore. And there are some
Yeah.
people who were, and they really suffered because they couldn't perform anywhere. But
Mm.
but where are the
I know why the comedians didn't die.
Tell us
Why?
again.
Because comedians are actually highly intelligent people who have an ear to the ground.
Eugene's already
they're-
nodding his head. He's like, no, we're not.
They're extremely pessimistic. Okay, they do
Yeah.
pick up everything wrong that happens in life, and
Yeah.
they
Yes.
were the ones who like really wrapped up. They were stuck in their beds with like masks on,
No.
and they
That-
even
that-
put in
again,
earplugs.
Look at Eugene Koza shaking his head. He's like, you've got everything wrong about this. Everything.
Everything wrong. Everything wrong. Look,
No boxes ticked.
everything wrong.
So why do you?
I played Red Dead Redemption. I think Red Dead Redemption should get an award for best COVID saver in the world because I just started Red Dead Redemption, and when I came out, COVID was over and things went.
I wish I had it in me to be a gamer, because those people can just switch off and they can disappear into the
Yeah.
hole. Like I got a friend, he's 48 years old and he still
Oh,
games, and he does it
Yes,
like he'll take days off work to do gaming.
Wow.
days off.
Days off, dude.
You know, I
then
think
he-
gaming is equivalent to alcoholism back in the Depression.
I think so.
It's a huge addiction.
Listen,
Yeah,
this
it's a
guy,
huge addiction.
he's a smart man. He's a professional. He is a really, really intelligent human being. But he'll log on with his friends all over the world and play one of those those games where you kind of first person shooter or whatever, and they'll be in
Yes.
teams, and he'll log
Yes.
on from his house and he'll be with all these people all over the world, and he'll play until 4 a.m, and then like he can't go to work the next day. But it's such
You know what?
a
You're actually right. Someone explained this phenomenon to me. He said before games used to end, so you had a mission. You're playing Mario Brothers. You're jumping around, saves the princess. It's all hunky dory. But now you've got open world games where the world keeps expanding the further you go, so it never ends. And now you've put on the internet, and now you're playing with some kid in Japan. It's 6 a.m. where he is. It's 6 p.m. where you are. Your wife is shouting at you. His mom is shouting at him. It's a mess. And now you both rebelling in real life and also on online game. It's a huge mess.
Disaster, dude.
I'll never forget that couple in, I think it was in South Korea, and this was years ago.
No,
like
North
10
Korea.
years
North
ago.
Korea is best. North Korea is best Korea.
Yeah, sure. And I'm sure
Is
they're
that the
into
best
online
Korea?
gaming.
I'm glad I'm not booking a flight on cheap flights right now because I would have went to the wrong Korea.
Yeah.
Oh, here's that stupid plug. I managed to get it. Look there. See with those two things?
Yeah.
Those
There's the
things
pain of my existence. There's the one.
You hate
Oh,
this
try
too,
that
right?
with
not just me.
coconut oil hands. I struggled my whole entire life. I've never looked so incompetent in front of my child. Never.
Oh my God. So embarrassing when you can't do something and your kid is looking at you like, but you're meant to be the adult here. Oh,
Yes.
Venetia says that plug is also called a cock blocker. Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
Zanetta
It's
says, but
everything evil.
at least they're not butt plugs, Gareth. Yeah, right. Why did they make
feel like-
that? Jesus.
I feel like I was telling a story.
Sorry,
You were South Korea.
I got completely derailed. Sorry, what were you even
You
talking
got
about?
cock blocked by the plug.
The
It was a
gaming.
couple who were so busy with their online virtual world
Yeah.
that they forgot to feed their children, and their children died.
Oh my God.
Their real children.
Ah.
Yes, in North Korea, best Korea.
No, not in North Korea.
No, they don't have games. They don't have internet in North Korea. So
No.
as South Korea. But
Who's
we
the
do
president of the best Korea?
have Kim Jong-un in North Korea. Best Korea with the best president.
And then the
Amazing.
South Korea, who's president there?
Who cares? Kim Pak Choi.
They're obviously doing a good job because we've never heard of them.
No. Wait, it's President President Titler Han.
Isn't it a woman?
No,
I
wait.
have to Google this.
No, it's President Tit Kunyam. That's who it is.
It's Moon Jae-in.
There we go. I
Are
knew
you
it.
making this up as well, Leigh-Ann?
No, I
Aren't
promise.
you fun?
His spouse is Kim Jong-suk.
There we go. Leigh-Ann, do you remember when we discovered the president of Namibia like 8 years ago?
Oh, my
10 years
goodness
ago.
me.
It
What
became our
it came
favorite
out of a
thing.
news story.
Yes,
Mhm.
you were reading the news one morning innocently, and you said,
Yeah.
President of Namibia. Listen to this. I just love Namibian names. Herero and Ovambo names are the best names in the whole of Africa. If you don't know what I'm talking about, let me tell you. The president of Namibia was a guy at
Mhm.
the time. He was the one who was like, I think the story was about Brad Pitt and Angelina, and they had their kid there.
Yes, it was.
Remember?
Can I say his name?
Yes, go.
Hifike Ponya Pohambo.
That's correct. Great. And his wife?
You
His
say
wife
it.
was Pene Hupifo Pohamba. And those are the best names ever. Oh man, I love it.
And the son was, I fuck you not.
Well, Brad and Angelina call their kids some ridiculous names as
Oh.
well.
Whatever happened to those kids since the breakup?
I don't know.
Listen, I saw
Living their best
Madonna's kids. Madonna's like,
Yes.
she's amazing on TikTok at the moment. She's
What
like,
happened?
she knows how to use this channel so well. But her kids are on there now. The black ones that she kidnapped from Africa.
The black ones, huh?
Yeah.
Brad and Angelina's kids, but then the black ones. Yeah. All right, listen to this. You want to hear some great names? All right, so here are the current. This is the current cabinet in Namibia. All right, I kid you not.
Okay.
So the Attorney General is a guy called Festus Mbandega, which is not so bad. Then you've got the Minister of Education, Anna Ngipondoka. Right.
Mhm.
Then you've got Minister of Environment, Pohamba Shifeta. I love these names so much.
She fitter than her husband. Her husband is thinner.
Pohamba Shifeta. And then we've got the Deputy Prime Minister's name is Netumbo Nandi Ndatiwa.
So many syllables.
And the president's, obviously the new president's a guy called Hage Geingob.
Is he Japanese?
No, but it sounds like he could be, right?
Yeah.
Oh, man. You would think Japanese. The Minister of Higher Education, Ita Kandiji Murangi.
It's a
And
Kandiji
Pea
Morangi.
Mushelenga. Pea Mushelenga is the Minister of Information. Doesn't that sound like a lay-by scheme? If you buy something... from a
Yeah,
dude in the
pay a
street-
mushalenga.
Yeah, if you buy something from a dude...
Don't
in the
pay
street,
now, pay a mushalenga.
Pea Mushelenga. We would tell you what, we would have sorted this out in about 4 weeks' time. I will come to you. You can give me for the Pea Mushelenga. We will do it all in a couple of
Don't
weeks.
pay now, pay a mushalenga.
Oh, shilling.
Fuck, I love this, man.
Oh,
Anyway,
man, you
so-
guys are horrible.
Yeah, so then we've just gone from North Korea to Namibia without missing a beat.
No.
All right. According to Fikile, this is Tracy Bard, who says, according to Fikile and Balula, South Africa has 3 oceans on our coastline. Clear an F for primary school geography. Is that what he said? Because I always,
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it past them.
Unless the
Well,
oceans have changed since I was at school, but there were 2 when I was there.
I know that we can actually claim to, maybe he's cleverer than Tracy thinks, because we've got the Atlantic, obviously, and the Atlantic and the Indian Ocean meet at Cape Agulhas.
Yes.
So those are the two obvious
where
ones.
everything explodes in
What?
an ejaculation of water.
Oh my God! You talk
I
about
nearly died trying to take a selfie there.
sexual frustration at 6:21 in the morning. Between Leigh-Ann talking about a climax, an explosion of water, and Eugene trying to take a selfie. I think we had a moment. But he might be right, because technically, don't we own that island? There's an island somewhere in the Antarctic that I think South Africa owns.
Yes, there is.
And therefore,
We do?
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's called. Marion Island, maybe. And Marion Island is technically in the Antarctic Ocean. And if South Africa owns Marion Island, then maybe Fikile is right. We do have 3 oceans. Just, maybe.
The fact that
You know?
you think Fikile knows where Marion Island is.
Yeah.
We've actually got a
Oh,
few
is it correct?
islands.
Well, he might. You never know. Fikile is full of. He started following me again on Instagram the other day. I got a
He forgave you?
Well, I don't know. I mean, clearly all is forgiven. But politicians, they're as fickle as, and his name is Fickle, technically. So he's refollowing me, and I've never had an issue with the dude. I mean, I used to chirp him all the time on Twitter, but I think, he's also learned to develop a bit of a thicker skin, because he gets shit every day from people on social media. Anyway,
He still does.
so I wanted
Dude,
to,
we've got a whole lot of islands.
yeah,
I'm looking on
go
Wikipedia,
through
which
it.
is
Let's hear what we own.
obviously.
We don't know
I
what we own. in
can't.
South
I
Africa.
can't read
Let's
them
go.
all. There's so many. Literally, they're like 30. I had
Hit
no
me.
idea. But the big one you're talking about is Marion Island.
Yes, that one's
That
definitely
one's 29,000 hectares,
nice.
Wow.
We should do something with that.
and it is.
Give us the land.
Yeah.
They should give Julius that land. I wonder what the hell would happen then if they gave Julius that island, because you can't
They
grow.
must-
Yeah, right.
They must-
Imagine. That'll shut him up.
They must-
He'll never ask for anything again. He'll be like, what am I going to do with this piece of Antarctic rock? That'll shut him up.
I wonder if he's any good at fishing.
Oh,
Ice fishing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine.
So what
All
are the
right.
other islands, Leigh-Ann?
What else have we got? Yeah, come on. This is our inventory.
Easter
What are the
Island?
other
No?
island? Oh, gee, I totally tuned out there. Oh, I'm back now.
Wow, you are high
Um,
for a Friday morning.
We've got the Bird Island group, which is Bird
Oh.
Island, Stag Island, and Seal Island. Those are all near
Mhm.
PE.
All right.
Bird Island.
The one where the
Lambert's
pedophiles used to hang
Bay.
out.
Yes, the pedophile one. I was trying to think there was a story about one of them.
What?
Bird
Yeah, the
Island,
apartheid
really.
pedophiles.
There were a whole lot of supposedly. This is a story that one guy he was very mysteriously died after revealing this. And Bird Island is like this tiny little island where apparently the apartheid government pedophiles set up a little hut, and you could land a
Ooh.
plane, and then they'd have sex with children in this hut, and then
Oh,
fly back to Pretoria
it's
to have
like
a cabinet
Epstein
meeting.
vibes.
No, it's very bad.
There's Dasson Island and Dacre Island.
Yeah.
We've got apparently the Hartbeespoort Dam Islands count.
Oh, do they? Do
Yeah.
we count those?
Leigh-Ann.
We've got those
I'm sure
islands in the
that's
middle
how
of the
you pronounce it,
northwest.
I'm sure you don't pronounce it. Yeah, it's not Hartbeespoort.
Oh,
I
Sorry,
was in there.
I always get it
I've
wrong.
never laughed this much so early in my life.
Can you-
This is
There's a-
horrible.
Eugene, can you imagine you're some like BEE diamond, and you've suddenly made all this money, right? And then you bought a
Yes.
place in what's that place called on Hartbeespoort Dam? It's called Eagle's Landing. All right, so you bought this beautiful like
Oh,
lakeside house, and now you're going to take your
Yes.
your girlfriend there to impress her for the weekend,
Side
and then
piece,
someone
not girlfriend.
side
Yeah.
chick, and then you get there, and then some Afrikaans guy comes up and goes, "Yeah, welcome to Hartbeespoort." And the chick is like, "I don't want anything to do with it."
There's even that song, man. Where he pretends he's sneezing.
Yes.
De Beespoort Dam is 'n lekker dam. Daar's fishing en alles in die vlei.
I'm selling that house. I'm selling that house. I'm gone.
Here's that island, the Bird Island with the pedophiles. There's a picture of it. It's not very useful. So there's a lighthouse on it. That's all.
Oh man, the
Oh,
things that
I kind
happened
of want
here.
to. I kind of want to be there, but without the
That's-
pedophiles.
The things that happened there. That's terrible. What a horrible thought.
Yeah, just.
Mm-mm.
We
There's
should
also
organize a trip
another
and go there and
inland
broadcast from
island
there.
we've got.
Mm.
We've got
What's that?
the in Kimberley. We've got the Kamfersdam artificial
Yay,
island.
yay. The what?
I also heard
Kamfers.
that. I also heard that. I'm like, oh no, now we're cancelled. Oh shit.
KAMFERs.
The
Please, guys.
Everybody, let's be very careful about this, especially for those people who fact check on YouTube. The
Yay.
dumb. Okay.
Yeah.
Please.
Black
We've
Twitter.
got the Cozy Bay Islands in KZN, Leisure Islands, and I don't know how to pronounce it. Tiersens.
Is that the one that you're gonna struggle with? I'm glad.
Thiessen Island. Yeah, that's in Neisner.
Say it again.
Thiessen Island.
Thiessen Island.
Justin says, I'm sorry, Leigh-Ann, you can't go to Bird Island. You are too old.
It's the only time I'm happy to be old.
Oh my God, that's horrible. Okay, listen, that's enough. I've had enough. When we start pulling islands out of the Hartbeespoort Dam, then we're really desperate.
I
We
mean,
don't know.
and artificial ones in the Northern Cape.
No, I'm sorry. No. I'm just gonna. Here's Tabo Pali. He says, "Where is this? Where is
Tabo,
this
Tabo.
K-word dam? Tabo, you're gonna get us into trouble."
Kamfer.
Yeah, sure. You can say it as many times as you'd like, Leigh-Ann. It's not gonna matter. The PAC are furious with you. Where there's nothing you can do. All three of them are really angry with you.
Oh my Lord. My
If you're
nerves.
wondering what the hell's going on, it is Friday morning. We are live. This is the most ridiculous start to a Friday ever. And I wish we could see Eugene every week, but he's too expensive. And, there's just no way we could afford to have him every week. Eugene Koza is our guest host this morning. We've got Leigh-Ann Mole. We've got a lot on the agenda for you this morning. We've got plenty to talk about. We'll get to all of that in a moment. I've just got to give you a couple of headlines. You want to hear what's happening in the world?
Absolutely.
We do.
Because
most of us are cut off, so you've got to tell us.
Right. Everybody knows that I am a very credible news source. That's all you need. If you needed, if you needed any information, just know that. All right. Elon Musk says Netflix is losing subscribers because the woke mind virus is making it unwatchable. This guy Elon has got a cannon and he's firing at everyone. So he says,
completely right.
But Netflix did drop in the shares yesterday, like you can't believe. Like if you own Netflix shares, yesterday was a terrible day. The woke mind virus, he says, is making Netflix unwatchable. He tweeted in response to an article on their shares falling 20% yesterday. On a Wednesday, the Netflix shares were on course for their worst day in nearly a decade as the stock fell to 27% of what its original value was in pre-market trading. In a letter to shareholders, the company projected that it could lose 2 million subscribers next year. It cited several issues that had negatively affected the company's growth, including mass password sharing. Everybody who has a Netflix account shares it with their whole family, right? Everyone. And competition from other streaming services. The richest man in the world, who's from South Africa, we always have to throw that in there. And if you really want to piss people off, you go, the richest man in the world is an African American. That really pisses them off. Drives them insane, right? Because like everybody's well, factually you're correct, but because
technically you're not.
So he said that this is a big problem. This woke shit that they put together on Netflix, and he said later on in a different tweet, he said, "Can they please just make sci-fi or fantasy at least mostly about sci-fi and fantasy?" Which is a good point because these days every show that anyone makes, whether it's on Apple TV, whether it's Netflix, whether it's Hulu, whether it's HBO, all the shows they make have to have some angle of like inclusion, diversity, all that kind of thing. Otherwise, the people at the top just don't give it the rubber stamp. So gone are the days where we could just watch a show for entertainment. Now we have to be preached to about all of these political things. Every single show is like this now.
Yeah, you start seeing black people in space, then you're like,
Well, I got to say, like, I think Gene Roddenberry had all of that stuff going right in the beginning with Star Trek. I mean, there were black people
And Billy
in
D.
Star-
Williams.
That's right, Billy D. Williams in Star Wars. That's correct.
Mhm.
And I don't think it's really an issue until you make it an issue. But these guys have
Yes.
made it the number one issue, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
I want to start seeing people who are overweight in space.
Yeah.
Right. We don't see enough. We don't see enough. fat people.
I just
Like,
imagined,
Starship
and
Enterprise's bridge is not overloaded with fat people. Because I never really watched Star Trek, but every time I seemed to have it come on TV, there was always
Yes.
like an explosion on the bridge, and the bridge would go like
Yes.
this, right? And everyone would fall down on the equipment. Now, if a fat person was on board the bridge, they'd break all the shit. Then the ship would be in even more trouble. So that's why they never had them. But they've got to start putting them on because there's no representation.
Yes,
No.
there's no representation
mean,
at all. I want to see a fat person in a space.
as a fat person myself, I think I'm allowed to joke. But
Oh.
as soon as you said that, I imagined this disc of a spaceship farting out, but like with constipation. So it's battling, and immediately, and suddenly it goes, and this fat person pops out and lands on Earth.
So Elon Musk says this, and then we'll move on to something else. He says, wokeness basically wants to make comedy illegal. He commented on efforts to shut down his friend
so
Dave
annoying.
Chappelle's show, because they climbed on Dave Chappelle like a couple of months ago already, because they said he was transphobic.
Yes.
Yeah, just because he acknowledged that there are men and there are women, something which humans have accepted as a fact since the dawn of time. But now this is apparently very controversial, because like 5 out of every 10,000 people have gender dysphoria. Now we have to like say, well, this male female thing, we're not so sure about that anymore. It's so weird. Like there is obviously every now and then.
Can I interrupt you there? every time I listen to Gareth and I'm talking to him, I feel like we're in a car talking, just the two of us, and then I realize we're broadcasting. Then I'm like, why am I having so much fun?
I know.
People are gonna say, "Is that what you think?"
So here's a point of view. I don't know whether this is a good one or not. You'll have to tell me. And if this gets us cancelled, well, then so be it.
You see, that's what I was talking.
So every now and then, somewhere in the world, like a kid is born with like 7 fingers or an extra arm, or it happens, right? It happens. And these people are anomalies. They're not usual. Now, just because every now and then there's a person who's born intersex, they have both female and male genitalia. We used to use the word hermaphrodite.
Yes.
And just because every now and then there's a person born with 6 fingers instead of 5 on each hand, that doesn't mean that in all the biology textbooks and on all the scientific articles that now when we just describe a human, we suddenly say, well, we don't really know if they might have 8 fingers, they might have 4, they might have 3. We know.
Yeah, we're not allowed to mention the words 10 fingers.
No,
because it excludes other people.
The 12-fingered community. So
we can just say the fingered people.
I just want to know when
Bird Island.
Bird Island, when a 12-fingered person is trying to say "fuck you" with a middle finger, which ones do they use? And is it much ruder if they use the 2 middle ones? That's what I want to know. But you get my point. It's like because there's this tiny community of people, and this is what Dave Chappelle was basically saying. Is like, all of this. These are the people you can't joke about, because if you joke about them, then everybody's going to turn on you on social media, and you're going to be the worst person ever, and then you're going to be comparisons to Hitler and Nazis. Hitler's always there, always in the background. There's always a Hitler. And by the way, I want to say happy birthday to Hitler this week. He would have been on the 20th of April. That's his birthday. How old would Hitler have been?
What, today?
Yeah, that's just. And remember the conspiracy. And yesterday was the Queen's birthday. So
is she still alive?
She's still going. 96, dude. 96.
What was that leak when the press release came out that her condolences and we're going into action mode about her funeral? Was that a mistake from the BBC?
She's alive and well. She's 96 years old. Hitler today would. I mean, this week on what was it? He's on the 20th, Wednesday. So he would have been Wednesday. Hitler would have been 133 years old. And there are still those conspiracy theorists who think he
That
made
believe
it.
he's alive
Yeah. They think he made it to
in
South
Argentina,
America. And he's still going, right? He's still going strong at 133.
farming potatoes like Thanos in Argentina, having asado prize there.
Yeah, just for the Hitler loving community, I just want to say, we acknowledge his birthday because we don't want them to be upset with us too. We've already upset so many people this morning.
Yeah.
So can't afford to lose
They're
the
people
Hitler
too.
community. Jesus. Anyway,
Hitler would have never made in the woke culture. He would have never survived the day.
Ooh, sure, he would have been highly unpopular. If you thought Hitler was unpopular.
Tutuko says, Gareth, expensive or not, we need to get Eugene again. You see, they're already leveraging me to bring you on all the time. I mean, I don't know. We haven't even had this conversation. Maybe Eugene's got time to join us. Hitler, the street kid who went to go on to be a popular person. Says Hitler.
You know what the worst thing I've ever done for myself was? And I've got a good friend of mine, best friend of mine. His name is Josh. He's Jewish. Josh Pincus. And now he immigrated to Israel.
I know the Pincuses. They're great.
My doctor is Dr. Pincus. I've got two
Oh, my God.
Both
You see, I told
brothers.
you, we all know the Pincuses.
And then,
go on.
I always feel horrible because the one thing I love is, every 2 months it's Nazi week on History Channel. And one day I watched this documentary that humanized Hitler. Oh my God, the guilt I felt for hating him for so long. They made him this kid.
Oh no.
They humanized him like they did Ted Bundy. And I'm like, I'm watching him as a kid who's
they told the soft story of Hitler. They were like, this poor guy.
About what a hard upbringing he
his
had.
dad used to beat him, right? And therefore now we must be sympathetic to him growing up to be a genocidal maniac. I love that.
Yes. And the part where he wrote Mein Kampf and he was sitting in a B&B in that small room, and then he was looking out the window and he was just writing his thoughts like Tupac. And I was like, this guy is onto. And then he left, and then he started Facebook friending Mussolini, and then they became friends, and then he made the David Tlale of the time, and then they made Hugo Boss, and then those were the uniforms for the SS and Mussolini's. And then I was like, these guys were onto something. If they lived in another time, the only part that they did wrong was killing people. Even then, the documentary was like, no, it wasn't him. It was Goebbels. Goebbels came up with that idea.
Of course.
And then, yes. So if Hitler was alive, which war crime would he be prosecuted for?
Why are we talking about Hitler so much this morning? I know
What's
it's
the answer?
Let's just take a call.
I'm asking you guys because he said it.
Are you saying he'd get off scot-free?
On a technicality, you would, because he never signed any declaration to do anything to anybody.
I mean, if Will Smith can get away with hitting Chris Rock, I reckon maybe they can make an argument for Hitler getting away with.
But Kanye didn't get away with interrupting Taylor Swift. That tells you a lot about Hollywood. Hey,
do you know why? Because Barack Obama took Taylor Swift's side. That's why. Remember, he said, "What a jackass." Remember that?
Wanting votes.
So here, let's take a call quickly. Good morning. Oh shit! All right. All right. Thank you very much. We got to get rid of that call. That was a call from Argentina, apparently. Sorry, I don't know how that got
That's
through.
where he's hiding out.
Oh, what a God!
All right, let's do our admonishments for the morning because we've got I got an email from Cloudy. All right, she's as in Claudia.
Mutweneng?
Yeah.
No, not Cloudy. My pronunciation. So Cloudy says, "I'm a longtime fan, listener, and now viewer. Although I don't comment a lot, I'm usually entertained by the chats on YouTube and the comment section. However, for a while now, there are a few, let's call them contributors, that really don't know where to draw the line." Okay, so this is basically for everyone in the comment section. And now Claudia is saying a couple of things here that I agree with, actually. So I hope you're all listening in the comment section. This is basically putting you in your place, all right? Short from insulting and disrespecting guests on your show, they really add absolutely nothing of value in the comments. Keyboard Tourette's seems to be an accurate description. We are a society that promotes and loves free speech, but sometimes, yes, enough is enough. I don't like blocking people, but some are absolutely worthy of blocking. And then, what is stopping them from just creating a new account? It's an annoying dilemma, and I can't imagine how distracting it must be from picking up on the comments that could actually add real value to the show. Perhaps add a moderator. I know it seems a bit high school, library prefect, but perhaps some of them need to be called out from time to time. I don't know. Good luck. Thank you, Cloudy. So, Cloudy, I'm just going to thank you for that.
Yeah.
You're saying what a
But
lot. I
you
mean,
know-
there's some of the people in the comments. I mean, there's Eugene. He's just left. So now you know.
But
he thinks we would-
it's also a thank you to Cloudy, and
Yeah.
it is appreciated. But also it's been more than half of your and my life now that we've dealt with off comments on
yeah.
everything that we do.
Right.
So to me, it's just like newspaper copy scrolling by.
Well,
it doesn't hold a
you
lot of meaning
remember-
until it really does.
Do you remember when News 24 used to have a comment section? Do you remember how crazy that was?
Yeah.
I think Eugene's frozen here on the screen. I'm going to, dude, come back in. I'm going to kick you out and you come back in. Let's just get Eugene Koza back. He disappeared. I think he's got load shedding or something going on there. All right. So Lucky says that's why I comment and I continue to watch on TV. Yeah, a lot of people, this is something fun to do if you haven't done it before. If you've got time in the mornings before you have to go to work or whatever, then what you can do is log on to YouTube on the show and you can actually stream it to your TV, which looks amazing because we're obviously you can see every detail of like the guests' pause and whether they've done a good facial routine in the morning. It's amazing. You can really see the best and worst of our guests if you stream this onto a big screen. See what Leigh-Ann was just doing now? She came close to the camera. We could basically be like a dermatologist this morning.
Oh, no.
All right. So here are the predictable comments. Cloudy is trying to cancel the comment section from Elon is Garden Pitlang saying, Principal Cloudy should simply go and listen from the app or wait for the podcast. Hands off our comments. Excuse me.
We went from Nazis to Ku Klux Klan. What's going on, Leigh-Ann?
I know.
Oh.
Robin,
It's the Blue Plax clan.
the Blue Klux Klan. Oh my God.
Don't get it wrong.
I can see clearly now the rain is gone. Cloudy, says DK. There's a lot of anger here. Gareth, didn't radio producers firstly answer the calls offline to avoid such things? Well, that's why we employed. You may remember that's how we got.
Was Damon.
That's how we got him a job. We got Damon on the show.
What was he answered millions of calls. Going
5, hello.
5, hello. Don't ask Gareth how he is.
Yeah, right. 5, hello. And then you go, I'd like to speak to Gareth, please. Okay, don't ask him how he is. Nobody cares. All right, hold on.
But he'd also just cut people off because he had like a switchboard thing.
Yeah,
and he'd go 5, hello, and they'd go, I want to, and he'd go beep 5, hello. Can I please beep 5, hello?
The power that man had.
Oh my God, that's so much power. I put up a picture. No, I'm not one to get too nostalgic and reminisce too much, but I put up a picture yesterday on Instagram that came up. You know how your Facebook says to you, this happened 5 years ago or 10 years ago.
I hate that.
I hate it too because it reminds you how old you are, right?
Yeah.
I hate it so much.
I haven't achieved much since then.
Oh my God. Yeah, you feel like such a fucking loser. Anyway, they put up this picture of all of us, me, Leigh-Ann, Mabali, and Sias at some event 10 years ago to the day yesterday.
Wow.
And
firstly, none of us could figure out where we were.
Yeah. We didn't know if we didn't know at the time, but we don't know 10 years later. Mabali came onto the group because we got this group and she says, I don't know whether this is, let me just find it because I don't want to misquote anybody here.
Just now, war culture gets you.
I thought it was on a ship.
Here's the picture. I'm not going to even try and put it on the screen, but there's.
There it is.
Right. Like you can see.
You haven't changed one bit, Gareth.
I hope not. I mean, I feel like I have. So Mabali says, wow, that was in Sun City, right? Isn't that where we had an encounter with a well-known chef or something? So Leigh-Ann goes, oh, I thought it was on a ship. So then Mabali says, it could have been on the moon, Leigh-Ann. Either way, you and I would have been too drunk to remember. So nothing's changed. So she goes later on, she goes, I don't know who that chef was. And Leigh-Ann answers, she goes, it was Chef Bonolo or something. He kept reminding me that he's a chef and he talked about himself the whole time. I remember while he was talking at me, I just walked away mid-sentence and went to the bathroom. And then we found out it's not Chef Bonolo. It was a guy called Justin Bonello, who's apparently quite a famous chef. But we didn't know. We couldn't remember who he was, right?
Chef
Just-
Bonolo.
yeah.
Chef Bonolo.
All the hard
There's
work we did, and we don't really remember any of it.
That's how Justin Bonello feels.
Yeah. Oh my God.
He tried
guy.
so hard to convince everyone he's a chef, and the show that
Yeah.
he got is him braaiing and shouting at people. He's a braai Nazi. He's just telling people,
Shame.
"Put some more coals. You've got 10 minutes."
Can we pick up on something that you said earlier, which I think people are talking about, and it's in the news, actually. This comes from the New York Post. Fans have shaded Viola Davis in her cringy Michelle Obama portrayal in The First Lady. So this is something a lot of people are talking about. And poor old Viola Davis is not getting a good reading from the critics and from audiences in general about her portrayal as Michelle Obama.
That's her. That's an impersonation of Michelle Obama.
What, she just, like, the eyebrows are up, that's it?
Yeah, and then she gave herself an overbite overnight.
Oh no, she gave it overbite. This is not in other words, this is not a flattering portrayal at all.
No, it's a caricature.
Shame, man. That's terrible.
Shame.
Well,
I don't. Why are you saying shame? Someone said yes to that.
okay, well, let me just show you a screenshot of her doing Michelle, and she's pulling that like face, right? Let me just show you. This is a screenshot of the face that she's pulling, and you tell me if you think this looks like Michelle Obama or if you think it's a bad caricature. All right, here's a picture of Viola Davis doing her damnedest to represent the former First Lady on screen. Okay, that's not very good, Michelle Obama.
But you went mild there, Gareth. There's more.
You reckon? So I'm gonna watch.
Yeah,
this.
there's one that's a meme that's out there, and then that one is.
Please find it. Just
Oh,
find
Let
it.
me find it. Let
You
me find
find
it.
it.
Let me find it real quickly, and I'll show you what we're dealing with over here. Oh man, what I've had to
awkward.
go through.
So
Ox, McCox.
Speaking of memes, someone sent me this yesterday, which I thought was brilliant. Oh wow, that is bad.
Oh
Ooh.
Lord.
Know what I mean?
She looks like Angie Mutshekga after she has to read out the matric results. That's not a good look. Oh my God, dude, it's so bad. I didn't realize that Viola Davis
Mhm.
she's got such a recall on her face. Like you can immediately see it's Viola Davis. It's very hard for people
Yes.
who look
To
exactly
unsee
like,
it.
to look like they look like it's, Jack Nicholson could never play anyone else because you would
Yes.
always in your head go, oh, that's Jack Nicholson. So you had to be these grumpy old white men in every movie.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and
Yeah.
it's typecast him. And I think for Viola, it's the same thing. She's got this look of like this, the auntie. She's like the auntie.
Yes.
And
Yes.
she can't
But-
play anyone but the auntie.
Hollywood has been searching for that black woman for long, and they finally found her.
Oh, come
No one
on.
is going. No one is going to whiz past this woman after this. They gave her the Oscar. She's always going to play the. There's never going to be a love interest of kissing and having a good time.
No,
She
they
was
already
even
had that.
shouting at people on the Suicide Squad. Who shouts?
I think you're being so unfair because they had Hattie Mcdaniel back in like the 1930s, dude. Don't you remember her? Hattie Mcdaniel. You remember Hattie McDaniel? They had an auntie a long time ago. Let me show you a picture. Here's Hattie McDaniel. This is back in the 1930s. Gone with the Wind. That woman worked her ass off to become the auntie, and she had a good run. She never got any credit because there was huge like discrimination and segregation, all that shit when she was on screen. But Hattie McDaniel, we will not forget you. You were the original black auntie on TV.
Yes,
that was her.
Auntie Jemima.
That's oh my God! Don't bring that up.
Hey, America will do you dirty. That country.
Yes, it's that country. We think, and we had reason. Like South Africa has reason to be very, very angry about our past.
Yes.
And America, obviously, America. Back in the day, there were big issues there. But America in the 60s had their civil rights movement. In South Africa, if you're a black person, it only happened in 1994 that you got to have the vote and all of that shit. Yes. By rights, we should be a lot angrier. I say we, but black people in this country should be angrier.
Yes.
And yet, America seems way more angry than South Africa.
Yeah, America's got trauma.
It's like these, it's like when you meet someone who's 17 years old and they're talking about the struggle, and you're like,
Yeah.
MK vet.
That's America. America, all the racism and all the segregation and all the discrimination and all the glass ceilings, and you're like,
there's a narcissistic part of me that loves America. I don't want to lie.
Me too.
There's a part of me that feels like whenever I'm in America, I feel like I belong there. There's never been a place where I go to where I feel like I really belong there. It's only when I watch it from the outside, and I'm like, that's some BS right there. But when I'm there, man, I'm in heaven.
It is. You know what? I will always love America.
Gives me the chills.
But
really?
I'm out of love with America at the moment, and I've always been a massive fan. I've always loved the place. It's always been the land of opportunity, and in some ways, it obviously still is. But I look at all the shit they're going through at the moment, and politically, everything is so divided. Forget about the whole race thing. They're just so angry about everything. Like if you're a Joe Biden supporter, and there are those people in America at the moment, you are just convinced that everything that's gone wrong is because of Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump.
Yeah, and Trump.
And Joe Biden. Just watch this and you tell me what's going on in this man's head. Just watch this quick, right?
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to put him.
Now, what?
As foot in mouth.
So he was his press secretary, Jen Psaki.
That's a hard-working woman.
Jen Psaki said this morning that, she was interviewed yesterday by Chris Wallace, and he asks her, he goes, is Biden sheltered from the press? So she's like, no. Joe Biden has done press conferences all the way through his presidency. And so Chris Wallace pulls up this screenshot of the number of interviews that the presidents have done. Biden did 28 interviews since he became president. Trump did 95 in a year. In their first year in office. Obama did 162. You're telling me they're not sheltering this man? Because he's an embarrassment. He goes,
dementia is setting hard there.
It's bad, right? And
dementia
Obama did
is setting hard.
162 interviews in his first year in office. One-on-one interviews.
But also Obama is an influencer and a slay queen, so.
That's true.
If you had to be like an assistant or like the second in charge to any of those three presidents you've just mentioned, who would it be? Like, who do you think is going to be the least work?
Who's the least work? No. I think you have to go around with a spade, in one of those pans and a dust brush.
Dustpan.
Because every dustpan, that's right. You could see I clean my house every day. Donald Trump, I think you'd have to do a lot of cleaning up after Donald Trump because he was messy. He would say whatever came into his head. With Obama, there'd be a team of people. This is what I reckon anyway. There'd be a team of people and everyone would know that, there was going to be a tweet at this time. There's going to be a press conference then. He's going to say this. And he never said the outrageous things that Trump said. So you never had to be in damage control mode. I reckon the easiest guy to work for would probably be Obama.
I think as far as job security goes, I would pick Trump because you have to be willing to do your job to be fired by Trump. Trump just wanted to do everything himself. I'll tell you what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna say this, and only when you say, "But he's wrong," then you get fired.
Yes. Oh no, and he fired people like regularly.
Yes, but if you are just willing to toe the line. Then you're fine there with Trump.
So here's an interesting story just before we wrap up this first hour. Apparently, there was the Queen's birthday on yesterday.
But Hitler stole the show on Wednesday.
We go again, back to Hitler. The Queen has now become a Barbie doll. There's a Queen Elizabeth Barbie doll. Yeah, look, there it is. There's the Queen as a Barbie doll. They've made it.
But she's fucking skinny like all Barbie dolls.
And the real Queen is not
misinterpretation.
So the real Queen. This looks like Helen Mirren pretending to be the Queen.
Yeah.
No, I thought you were gonna say Helen Zille.
No. Although she is the Queen of the Western Cape.
I live in Upper Langa, and I can tell you now, the blacks in Langa have it nice.
They have it so easy. Those blacks, let me tell you, those spoiled blacks, those spoiled
That's
blacks
righteous.
of Langa.
Oh, Lord.
They've all got Netflix subscription.
They have water, they have electricity, they have Primus stoves. I mean, how dare they complain?
They've got Netflix. They're sharing one account, the whole entire squad.
I mean, I flew over Langa in a helicopter the other day, and I've never seen so many satellite dishes in my life. Ever.
So what did the Queen say about this doll?
Eugene, you're such bad news, dude. I've missed you so much, but oh my God, we're going to be in trouble
I
after
missed
this
you
show.
too, dude.
Listen, do you remember that lunch that you and I went to in like Midrand?
With Rabin.
With Rabin, and I thought about Rabin the other day because I sent Dori, my producer, I sent her a screenshot with Rabin. It was his birthday. And
Yes.
I said to her, we got to get this guy back on because I want to know what he's up to. Where is he?
Yes. I don't know. All I know is Rabin is married with a child,
Yes.
having the best time of his life.
We got to get that guy on. That lunch was one of the
Absolutely.
funniest and most awesome days ever. I mean,
In the
it started
creepiest
off-
restaurant ever.
It was so creepy. We were the only people.
Why
in
was
that
it creepy?
restaurant because
I
there was
felt
no
like we
one
were
else.
having a mafia meeting.
Yeah.
It was
Oh.
the setting was exactly that. There were murals of grapes and bottles of wine, and we were just sitting in the middle table, and all the tables were empty. It was Italian. We felt like we were in Sicily in a villa somewhere.
It was like they cleared the restaurant for us.
Yeah.
We had a deep, meaningful conversation that day.
Where like the waitress knocks on the side of the door before she comes in.
Yeah.
Yes. And there's an outside door, in and out door.
Right, exactly. It was such a fun day, though. I think we
had a fun time.
We stayed there for like 4 hours.
Yes.
It was such a good day. We got to do that again. Find Rabin. Let's do this. Dig him out from wherever he is.
It's my mission. I'll get accomplished.
Here is Tabo saying, "Those spoiled blacks of Langa, ha ha ha." But they do have it nice.
Why, Tabo? Why?
Oh my God.
I live in what I call Upper Langa. And I've seen those blacks. They're having such a good time. Yeah. Helen.
Sometimes the shebeens go on until like 4 in the morning. Outrageous. We talked about this yesterday. We tried to take it seriously, and it became so boring. So I prefer.
Can't live life like that.
I prefer our take on this morning, where it's like those spoiled.
You made it scot-free out of apartheid. Look at you now. You're doing well.
Scot-free.
Scot-free.
All right. Dude. Listen, we've got to take a break. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. We've got so many other things to talk about. But I do agree with Mapello. We need a Helen Ziller Barbie.
Lord.
Then young black girls in Langa can grow up with a Helen Ziller Barbie. They can have telling their other Barbies what to do. That's what we really need. So everybody in Langa, I know you're all for this. Don't be shy. Tell us how much you need the Helen
Don't
Ziller
be spoiled.
All right, listen, we'll be back in a second. CliffCentral.com, Friday morning. Eugene Kwaza, Leigh-Ann Mole, me, you, and everybody else. Don't go anywhere.
This week on the Auto Trader podcast.
Let's first start off by saying there's a major chip shortage in the world. Semiconductor chip manufacturers were in decline in terms of demand. So before COVID, right?
Yeah.
Silicon chip demand was in decline. Then COVID hit.
Okay.
And people made some assumptions, including car manufacturers.
Catch us every Monday at 9 a.m. on YouTube and on autotrader.co.za.
Just because it's about technology, connecting your business to the rest of the world doesn't mean you need to send rockets to space and use complicated solutions. Want to simplicate things? Well, join Jaco Voigt, who is the CEO of Catalytic, on the Unbundled podcast. With skin in the game and a keen focus on educating and assisting you and your business, Jaco decodes all the aspects of connectivity, security, and cloud solutions. Unbundled is brought to you by Catalytic and is available on cliffcentral.com, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Be back for another episode of Unbundled with Catalytic. And if you don't know what their business is, you are missing out, because there are people all over South Africa who don't have good internet connections. Jaco's the guy you need to talk to. He and his team are superb, and they can help you with all of those problems, especially if you're a business, because that's really where they focused on helping businesses to make everything simpler. Simplicate is the word that he's come up with, and I think it's awesome. I mean, if everyone else is allowed to make up words, why can't Jaco, right? That's how it goes. This morning, we have our guest, Eugene Koza, who is joining us live from his house. Hey. I love the way.
Looked like it was the only response that was appropriate for that.
It's the perfect response. Yeah. And here I am. And we've got Leigh-Ann live from her house. And people are just loving the idea of fat people in space. Dilino says, fat people in space.
Bandwidth that you would need.
Yo, can you imagine? Mapelo says, cancel Cliff Central loading. How dare you make jokes about black people's struggles with lots of laughing faces. Angus says, Gary, he was shaking hands with the ghost voters. I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe
No,
Joe
Biden.
Yeah, Joe Biden.
Yes.
Oh, dude, I have to tell you the saddest thing. Like, I didn't think I could feel sorry for a politician, because, we've become, and I think it's right. We don't care about politicians and their suffering, because they're stupid and they're venal and they're parasitic and they don't do very much for us. And especially in South Africa, we've learned the hard way that you can't trust politicians.
Yep.
I mean, even now with these flood relief funds in KZN, the first thing people ask is not, where's the flood money going to? They're not asking, like, who are you going to help? They're not asking who's in charge of this. They're like, keep it away from government, because they're going to steal it. It's the first thing they say. But I saw this clip.
That's sad, eh?
Oh, dude. The saddest thing I've seen is this clip that it was probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago. The White House invited Obama back for, I think it was the anniversary of Obamacare. And it's the first time he's come to the White House since Joe became president, because he hasn't really, got involved in Joe's presidency, because who would want to? Obama's got this legacy, and then Joe is this really unpopular. I mean, his approval ratings are in the low 30s at the moment. But that's
a dig move. Gareth, I have to interrupt you there. That's a dig move, because he's the one who campaigned for Biden to be president. So he foisted him on us. He never distanced himself from that campaign.
I don't know, dude. When you say campaigned, I don't think Obama went out of his way to help Joe during the campaign. Remember, Joe Biden's campaign consisted of him sitting in his basement at home and occasionally going on Zoom. That was like maybe once that was his campaign. Trump was out there at stadiums. Remember, the stadiums full of people during coronavirus. And
I missed that guy.
And Biden was like in his basement, and occasionally would come on and go, oh,
Lord.
But
yeah, but never do.
I don't know if you can blame Obama. I don't know. Maybe you can. Anyway, the thing that is so sad, and this is the whole reason I bring this up, is they showed this video footage of a party, and then they all made their speeches. And then afterwards, there's a whole bunch of people who've lined up to meet Obama, who was president for 8 years. They had 8 years to meet him while he was president, but he's still the star attraction at the White House. And poor old Biden is like hanging around. He's like an also-ran. He's in the background, and people are like, hi, Mr. Obama, Mr. President, great to see. And they're ignoring Joe completely. And then Joe, in a desperate attempt to assert himself, he taps Obama on the shoulder. He's like, Barack, like a grandpa at an old age home who's trying to get, please bring my pudding. He's like, please just pay attention to me. And Obama ignores him flatly.
No, you're kidding.
Dude, Barack Obama is the kind of person you don't just touch him. Like he's a president. He's always got people around him. Nobody gets to just tap him on the shoulder. So he would have
Except for a president.
Well, he would have felt that though. He would have been like, someone's tapping me on my shoulder. He ignored him flat, and it was so sad to see this old man. And then Joe he looks around and then he kind of waddles off to the side, and it's the saddest thing to see this man. Yeah, it was really, really bad. I felt sorry for him.
No, the only bit I saw of that interaction is when Barack called him vice president in a joke.
Like,
but then he paused for way too long for it to be a joke. You know, he paused and then he was like, also I'm joking. Then I was like,
to me that was a real dick move, because basically
it was a dick move, no?
Yeah, and he's saying what everyone's thinking. I mean, so that's why it's good comedy. And you and I started talking about Obama this morning, and like what a great guy he is on camera, and he's an entertainer, right? And a slay queen. He was just amazing with social media and everything else. But to do that, poor old Joe, it's the saddest thing. It's like, no one wants to visit the old man in the old age home, even though the old age home happens to be the White House, and the old man happens to be the most powerful man in the world, supposedly.
Yes,
it's just so sad. It's really sad.
Joe is the white man Obama never had.
No.
It's definitely not, the word powerful is not what I would associate with him at all.
Yeah. Oh, Marty says, great shoe, guys. Best laughter I've had in a while. Thanks, guys. Well,
man.
No, I know. But I thought he thought we were shoe shiners for a minute there, and that was all we were good.
So spoiled. Oh, like those guys that are cost you. Those guys that are cost you there at. Those guys.
Have you got Crocs?
No, man.
Slippers.
Oh, nice slippers. Those are very luxurious.
Yeah, from ShopRite.
But they look like they're made of velvet, dude. Those look like
they were
velvet.
right next to they're like corduroy. They were right next to the baked beans, and there was a special. So I was like, baked beans slippers.
Okay. You shouldn't have ever said that. I would have believed you. If you told me you imported them, from Italy and that they were made out of like mohair, I would have said, oh wow, okay. You had to spoil it by telling me that it was ShopRite. Now I'm like,
they were made from the distressed hair of those young kids from that island.
Oh my God, Bird Island, how terrible. But you know what? They were still lucky because Helen Ziller was in charge of Bird Island.
It's a great Wi-Fi in Bird Island.
What a callback.
Oh, wow.
At least they had phone cards. They could have called for help.
Yeah.
Remember phone cards? Oh, man.
Phone cards. Dude, do people still use Please Call Me's?
Yeah, but that guy is not getting paid.
He's never going to get paid, that poor man.
He's never going to get paid, that guy, eh?
And it was his idea. But you know what? I mean, they offered him this really crappy settlement. I mean, if you think about it, remember what the cell phone networks were charging back in the day. In the 90s, they were making an absolute killing, those guys. In the 2000s, they were making an absolute killing. Do you remember that airtime cost you like R2.50 a minute or something at one point?
Yep.
And sending an SMS was like R3 once. Remember that?
Yeah.
But guys, okay, Gareth, what was the last settlement that they offered him?
I can't remember, but it was something. It was nowhere near what he should have got, and the guy was not being greedy. It was his idea. They made a fortune out of it. They should have paid him what he deserved.
I can tell you that. I can tell you one thing now. Eugene, I would have taken that settlement and went on my merry way.
Dude,
because
I would have.
Why would I be fighting broke if I could be angry rich?
You see, that's logic right there in a packet. I love that.
You know how much problems I would cause for them after I've taken the money. Taken the money.
Absolutely.
I would afford to cause them problems. Right now, I can't afford to cause them problems.
Yeah.
Because I don't have the money.
Ruled that Vodacom's Please Call Me inventor, Nkosana Makate, is entitled to 5% of the total voice revenue generated.
Okay.
From March 2001 to March 2021. I mean, that's a long time.
It's a long time. Yep. So it's probably a large packet of money, but they didn't offer him that. That's what the court said.
Never see it.
The amount could be much higher than the 47 million previously offered by.
There we go.
Vodacom.
But you know what the
I would
problem
take
is?
The 47. Mm-hmm.
The problem is now that Vodacom, MTN, and Cell C are not making nearly the money that they used to, right? Because they used to charge. And so now they those were the glory days when they were making tons
Yes.
of cash. Now they're not making any of that. Like you wanted shares
Yeah.
in
I mean,
Vodacom back in 2000.
Now all we need is data. We don't need, actual phone calls.
And now you also get people who can supply data on fiber in your neighborhood for unlimited, uncapped, and all that shit. We don't even think about those words anymore.
Yeah, I would have taken the 46 million and lived my best life in
Yeah,
Langa.
I think I could have a good time. 46 million is a lot of money, man.
Yes, because if you'd ask him what he would do with 46 million, he can answer you. But if you'd ask him what he would do with that 2 billion or 3 billion that he wants, he won't get an answer for that.
No, shame. I mean, maybe he did make the wrong decision. I would have taken the money, but that's because I don't think I'm worth much more. Maybe he thought he was worth more, It's funny, I had this
you can
conversation.
rest assured that Saudi thought a lot about you, Ryan. I mean,
Ryan.
so.
Ryan, did you call me Ryan? That's hilarious.
I was thinking of Ryan now.
So Kutsa says, Eugene and Gareth have always been a great combo, in my opinion. I listened to the past interviews Gareth had with Eugene from time to time. Pure magic. Did we do? We did 1 or 2. I didn't think we did a lot of them, did we?
We did like, I think maximum 3 if you don't include the restaurant.
Yeah, it's probably about right.
It's always fun. It was always around your birthday.
I listened to an interview. Man, I remember recording, and this is one of my biggest regrets, is I remember recording an interview with AKA about 3 years ago. It was one of the best interviews I'd ever had. And this guy he was so awesome to talk to. He had such insightful things to say. He was a real serious, deep thinker, and he had tremendously nuanced views on stuff. The guy was exceptionally clever and had a heart of gold, by the way, too. And I remember I recorded this interview, and then I realized that we hadn't pressed record.
No way, Gareth.
Dude, this is one of the most frustrating events of my life. You can ask anybody at Cliff Central, they'll tell you it's like the one time I really lost my shit, because I was under the impression that there was a backup recording as well. But I don't know if it was me or if it was someone who was meant to be recording or if the file was corrupted afterwards. But I remember we didn't have the interview. And it was about an hour and a half, maybe even an hour and 45 minutes with AKA. And I thought about it the other day when he died, and I was like, Jesus, I wish I had that interview to listen to, because this would have given people who didn't know him the idea of what kind of a person he was while he was alive. What a spectacular human being. It's one of
Double
my
HP, you mean?
No, double HP as well. But this is
AK is still alive.
No, dude. Sorry, Ricky Rick, not AK. Sorry, Ricky Rick.
Yes.
Ricky Rick.
Oh, you almost gave me a heart attack.
That's like you calling me Ryan. I called him AK.
Now we're even, Steve.
Now we're even. No, it was Ricky Rick. I mean, that I don't know how I confused that, but what an amazing discussion we had. And
what did you find out about him as you were talking to him?
Well, I mean, he was a real family man, for starters. And he just...
So that wasn't the front, eh?
No, that was a completely honest thing. He just absolutely loved his family, and he was so successful, but he was so normal. He didn't let any of it, because rappers, like, we all see what happens to rappers, and 90% of them, they go in a direction where it's all about like this incredible lifestyle that's just out of reach for most people. Drinking champagne, all the bitches, all that kind of thing. This guy was not like that at all. And he had opinions about science and opinions about history and opinions about philosophy that were mind-boggling. I didn't know any of this until I sat down with him, because I met him at a party in it was in Stellenbosch or something. Because I mean, this guy had some high-powered friends as well, and he never ever spoke about it. He never saw pictures of him like hanging with the important and influential people that he knew, but he knew some real heavy hitters. So just by the way, for all those people who are losing their minds right now, I'm not talking about AKA, I'm talking about Ricky Rick, okay? Jesus, it was a mistake. Just like Eugene called me Ryan. I'm so sorry. What a disaster.
I apologize to the white community. Gareth apologized to the black community. It's fine. It's even, Steven. You don't know how lucky you are.
You don't know.
You got away scot-free.
If only you lived in Langa, then you would appreciate how good your life is.
The
is-
finer things in life. The jet fuel spraying over your head. The gunshots.
like right
singing
now,
you
there's
to
so
sleep.
many people that are migrating to Lunga because it's like this
Uh,
city of
Property
gold.
prices are booming.
Just imagine Helen has sent property prices in Lunga skyrocketing. You've got white people going, that's it, we're moving to Lunga. Helen said it's great,
Yeah.
we've got to go there. Like, immediately.
WhatsApp groups
Oh, man.
erupting in white privilege all over.
You guys are horrible. You guys are
This
gonna
is-
get my black membership revoked. Yes.
Yeah, listen, there's going to be a lot of memberships revoked after today.
Ooh.
Hey, we haven't asked you about this, but what did you, and I have to ask everybody because I don't
Yeah,
feel
yeah,
bad about this anymore. I used to think it was just one of those dumb entertainment stories, but we had Gilly Apter on the other day. She told us what she thought. I had a couple of other comedians over the last week or two, maybe even 3 weeks, talking about that Will Smith, Chris Rock thing. But I got to hear your take on it, because what would you do if you were Chris Rock? And don't you think he behaved impeccably as compared to Will Smith? And is there a rule with comedy? Like you don't just walk into someone's house and smack them. And while Chris is on that stage and he's in charge, that's his house.
Mm.
Yeah. I think there's two layers here. One was the fact that it was a long time coming. From what I'm getting from people that I know, this thing has been bubbling under for a long time. So he wanted to make a final stand for him. He just wanted to finally show the world that he's sick and tired of what the media has been saying and these comics have been saying behind closed doors. So he made a grand stand. And the second part is, I think it had nothing to do with comedy. I see comics being all emotional. And one thing that gave that away was how many comics came out to stand up for Chris Rock. Almost none. So it almost tells you what comics really think of Chris Rock.
I think a lot of that is jealousy too, because Chris Rock he's in a totally different level and atmosphere to most comics. I mean, Chris Rock, I would say, and you and I had this conversation a while ago, but I would say in the great pantheon of comedy, to me, there are only a couple of names, and I mean, I can rattle them off. And I'm not a comedian, so I'm just a fan, right? The Golden Throne goes to Pryor. Richard Pryor was there. He was the groundbreaking, rule breaking. He was just this. He was a force of nature. So he came in and broke it all open. Then you got to give Eddie Murphy the next seat, because remember, again, Eddie, we think of him now as these what's that stupid professor?
Where he does all the characters.
Nutty Professor.
You think of him as the clumps, but the guy was, before that, he was just absolutely devastating. And I still think
there's a generation that only knows him as Professor Klump. Actually, you're right.
It's very sad, because they're missing out on the best of Eddie Murphy. And that guy used to take chances. I mean, he would joke about anything. There was nothing sacred, and he was absolutely fearless. Then you got to say Chris Rock was the heir to those two, right? So in generations, Richard Pryor, then Eddie Murphy, then Chris Rock. But you got to throw in names like George Carlin, and you got to have people like Billy Connolly. And but that's the golden kind of thing. And Chris Rock he's a cut above all the other comedians. And I would say Dave Chappelle has earned his way into that Hall of Fame as well.
I don't find Dave Chappelle funny at all.
But he said no to things which everybody else would have said yes to. I mean, I think he has balls. And even if you don't think he's as funny, I mean, listen, you would know better than me, because comedy is an art form. And if you can work that art form, you're not just an observer of it like I am. So, I want to hear what you think of that. But I think Dave Chappelle's in there too. I don't think a lot of other people can get in there. And therefore, when Chris goes on stage, the fact that so many comedians didn't defend Chris Rock for doing, he did nothing wrong. He handled it like a champion, right? How else would you respond? They were jealous. Those other comedians were just jealous that he is Chris Rock. They weren't jealous of him at the Oscars. They're just jealous that he's Chris Rock and he's one of the most successful people in entertainment history.
Yes, absolutely right. But I also think in America, and especially in those Hollywood circles, people think it's a big community. It's actually not. It's such a small community of people that control what happens. And I think if there's one thing that Chris Rock knew from the position that he was standing as he was getting slapped, and Will Smith was in the position that he slapped Chris Rock, they both knew that white Hollywood was on their side. So if Chris retaliated, white Hollywood would have ejected him.
Yes.
But if if Will Smith knew that white Hollywood would reject him, he would have never done it.
I don't think he thought about it though. I don't think it was
You
calculated.
think so?
No, I think it was pure. That was just adrenaline. He was like suddenly, yeah, because you could see that. What convinced me was when he shouted twice from the seat, "Keep
With
my
emotion.
wife's name." You could hear that was like real. That wasn't made up shit. He hadn't thought it through. The adrenaline was coursing through his system. That was a totally real reaction. I also thought it was bullshit for a while, but I think it was real.
No, I don't think it's bullshit. But I also don't think that he expected repercussions as well. He is Will Smith. He never apologized even when he got up there after he had time to think about it.
Well, he
He
apologized.
never apologized to Chris.
He didn't apologize to Chris, no, but he apologized
Yeah,
to
he
everyone
apologized
else.
to the white people.
Listen,
said, sorry,
there's a new incident. I saw this on social media last night, and I wasn't sure what to make of it, but it's linked to this. That's why I brought up the Chris Rock and Will Smith thing. Mike Tyson was on a plane, and did you see this?
Yes.
So this guy was
annoying him.
He was being annoying. He was like, "Oh, look, I'm on a plane with Mike Tyson," and Mike Tyson's sitting right there. Now, if you know anything about Mike Tyson, it is that this is a very, very competent, brilliant fighting machine who has he doesn't care about any of the filters that the rest of us care about. He's not trying to behave. He doesn't care about his reputation. His reputation was forged long ago. And Mike Tyson has nothing that he needs to be nice to someone in a plane about. When he's sitting in this plane just chilling, right? He's doing his thing. And this guy's going crazy and irritating him. And he gets up, he just punches the guy. He knocks him right out. Because that's what Mike Tyson does.
He gave him the chance to have a selfie with him.
Yeah.
And then the guy just continued he was sitting right behind him, and he just continued to try and talk to him and badger him the whole time.
But all the while with the phone, recording the whole thing.
Yeah. Windows on the other side recording.
And you know what it made me think? It made me think like a lot more people need to be punched.
Gareth.
But also, this guy's now lucky because he can walk around saying, "I was punched by Mike Tyson."
Well,
don't you think a lawsuit is going to follow here?
If he can ever breathe through his nose again.
But don't you think a lawsuit is going to follow?
Of course there will be. But what I'm saying is that, because of social media, people think they can just say anything to anyone, anytime.
Yeah.
This is what it is. We've got to a point, and I'm a free speech guy. I think everybody should have their say. I just want to bring in the other side of the argument. If I was sitting on a plane and a guy was annoying the hell out of me, and I was a nobody, and nobody knew who I was, and nobody cared who I was, I said to the guy, "Sit the fuck down. You're irritating me now. This is not on you. You're driving everyone on the plane crazy. Just sit down. It's not about you." And then he carried on. Some people need a clap. Some people need a clap. I didn't feel sorry for this guy at all when I watched. Now, I know this is controversial. People are going to get upset with this, but Mike Tyson is not the kind of guy that you mess with. When he's asked you nicely, "So I take the selfie with you, but when I take my selfie, I want you to sit your ass down and stop fucking irritating me, okay? I'm trying to be a nice guy here." And then you keep doing that. And then what do you think is going to happen? Like, this guy's never been taught how society actually works because he lives in the virtual world where you could say whatever you want to Mike Tyson. You could tweet, "Oh, F you, Mike Tyson," and you're not going to get smacked. In the real world, Mike Tyson's going to hit you. And there's so many people who've grown up in this virtual world that they go out there thinking they can shout at someone. You know how they shout at you comedians now? I mean, there always used to be hecklers, right? There used to be people like, "Oh, shut up, Eugene. Oh, Eugene, you're so fat," or whatever. They'd say, but you'd always have a comeback, and it was part of the entertainment. Now you get these like university master's students with blue hair who stand up in the back of the thing and, "I don't think it's funny that you, as a member of the patriarchy, are criticizing feminism." And they start going on a diatribe, and they think they have a right to do that. Now, in reality, the rest of the crowd should pick that person up and throw them out of the window of the auditorium because that's what everyone's thinking. But in the real world, this doesn't happen anymore. Mike Tyson is the real world.
Yes. So here's what my thing is. Where was that person to throw them out of a plane? Because as we all know, if you've flown commercial in America, there's always a flight attendant to tell you what to do.
Yes. Yes.
So where was that person? And
like
they were
the
in business class.
Gestapo. Yeah.
The SS Gestapo.
Right.
And they were in business class, if I could see correctly. And there was no flight attendant to tell this belligerent drunk person, him and his buddy, that they're actually harassing another passenger. So there was nothing. There was no protection. This reminds you how lily white America is. I think Mike Tyson, for a moment there, he was not Mike Tyson. He was a black guy in business class.
I don't know.
There was a couple of fred boys who was annoying him, and there was no flight attendant.
Do you think that's what it is?
Absolutely, because you see it all the time in America when famous black people forget that they're black, and the system reminds them that they're black very quickly. A$AP Rocky is one of those. He got arrested landing in LAX, and they were like, "Oh, so you're having a good time gallivanting with Rihanna? We're gonna charge you for murder." There he is now. So America has a system of reminding a black. Chris Brown said it well in that documentary of his on Amazon that used to be on Netflix when he spoke about the Rihanna incident. That the system here will remind you who you are, and if it wasn't for BET, he would have lost his career on the spot. So Mike Tyson at that point, he was just another black guy who was being harassed by two white dudes.
That's such an interesting take. Like I didn't even think of the race element, and that's not surprising because I'm not black, but. To me, that is
you not Gareth.
No, I know such a realization. But
together in longer.
Like if you listen now to everything I said just a moment ago, I didn't see your angle at all until you said it. Maybe that's a part of it that I'm blissfully, stupidly unaware of. I just think there are too many people in society who get away with just saying anything they want, and it's because they do it on Twitter and they think that's how the real world works. So to me. And I was on Mike Tyson's side from the beginning, like I said, because I do think some people just need a clap.
I don't know. I think Mike Tyson is spoiled.
Yep. He forgot.
He should move to Langa.
He was not. He forgot that he was not Mike Tyson there, and he wanted the system to protect him, and no one was there to protect him. No flight attendant said, "Please stop doing this to Mr. Tyson." No one came, and he became himself. And for me, the big disappointment with that brawl was the fact that he, for so many years, has preached the fact that he has changed. He smokes weed. He's much calmer. There was one interview that I saw where he spoke about how he hated boxing, the fact that he had to go in there and become violent. The one where they interviewed him as well with his title belts.
But again, I don't have any problem with the way he behaved. I think he was well within his rights at that moment. Forget I don't agree that the system has any role to play here. This is two people interacting, and things went badly because the one person had no ability to judge that they were out of line. So Mike Tyson put them back in line. I don't think it has anything it could have happened in a parking lot. It could have happened in a parking lot. This is what cost to him. It's going to cost Mike Tyson money, but I think a lot of people are on his side, like me. And this is also
what we have. Sorry to interrupt you. What COVID has done for us, it has caused the fuse to blow when it comes to tolerance and patience. We want justice and retribution now. Right, so that's why when that Will Smith incident happened, people were like, "Yeah." We regret it after. And then when Mike Tyson punches the guy, yes. And then when Casper Nyovest fights Knock Music, we're like, yes, we want blood.
Yes,
and
we do.
We want that now. Takes a tanker to his house and some Indian person records and says, "Look at what this dude is doing." We're like, yes, we are begging for blood. We are no different from a scene in Gladiator where we just like, yeah, kill him. That's what we've gotten.
You're so right. Tambisa says, "Hi, Gareth. Who you? Down with violence." People are hilarious. Oh my God.
Are these listeners ever taking life seriously?
Yeah, no. None of my listeners take anything seriously. It's why I love them. Sanela says, "Gareth, what do you mean you're not black? You should be ashamed of yourself for forgetting where you come from."
You are African.
You forgot your culture, Gareth. You've run so far from the streets, you can't come back.
Yeah.
Don't deny it.
All right, so I've got a dilemma. Next weekend, I'm going to this something very fancy, and the host called me yesterday, and they said you can choose who do you want to sit at a table with. All right, so I've got 3 options, and I want you to help me choose.
This is like the dinner party question.
Yeah, so I can either be at Gayton McKenzie's table. You know who Gayton McKenzie is, right? So he's got that party, and he's an ex-prisoner. He's big friends with Kenny Kunene. he's been one of the people who's been shouting about like illegal immigrants and all that stuff, and he's very opinionated and interesting guy.
Yes.
I mean, I've had him on my TV show. He's definitely not a horrible person to sit next to. He'll be interesting as hell.
Yes.
Or Musi Maimane is at another table. I can sit next to him.
Okay.
And then I can't remember who the third one was. They said, I think it's someone international who's coming in. And I'm like, I'm veering towards the international because I don't want to talk politics. I don't want to talk politics.
Yeah.
But I think if I had to choose between Gayton and Musi, I think I'm going to choose Gayton.
Gayton. Yeah, any day. Any day. Like
Leigh-Ann, what
Musi
do
has
you
become
say?
the real housewives of DA.
Yeah,
He's
I'd
like
be
a
interested
divorce
to know
spouse from the
who.
rich husband who's making a career by talking about the rich husband.
I would go
You
with
don't
your
know how
first
lucky you were.
instinct, which is just go international and stay away from the politics. But then that's because
Yeah.
I'm Swiss and I just,
You
Yeah,
like to
I
be
don't
neutral?
I don't want to be talking politics at this thing, so I think I'm going to go with the international. But I mean, I'll be happy to see Gayton, and I have no issues with Musi. I mean, I've had him on the show too, and he's, I think he's doing the best he can, and he's got lots of supporters. There are a lot of
You
people.
sound like
in
an
fact,
encouraging math teacher in high
yeah,
school.
but he
You're
is
doing
like
the
an
best you
encouraging.
can.
Is such a good description. He's an encouraging maths teacher. That's what. But I got to give credit to Musi and his movement because I mean, we've
Movement?
yeah, the one what are they called? One Movement South
Yeah,
Africa.
one first problem. If
I
you
know.
can't remember it,
I know, but they are.
I just think of bowel movement when I hear
No,
that.
I do want to say this, that they were one of the first organizations to come forward and offer assistance in money and volunteers and everything else for all those shack fires that they just had in
How
Langa.
much?
So, well, I don't know how much money, but I know that he came forward straight away and he said he's offering all that they have available, people, time, money. I mean, I'm not going to pick apart his offer, but I think it's a good thing, and I do appreciate that. I mean, it's more than you and Leigh-Ann and I offered to help. Right?
So I was gonna say he's got a lot of time. Man. It's cold outside the TA.
All right. Well, there we go. So people are saying Gayton is the it guy in politics right now. He's so much more authentic than all the other politicians.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Mackenzie all
Yeah.
day says Congo Chris. We don't want Musi to start watching this show and joining the comments.
Musi.
Hey, bro, Musi.
Mm.
Hi, people are
Hi,
mean here in the street.
Musi.
Hi, Musi.
Okay, you've got to describe your exact. You've got to explain your comment earlier because Sanele is upset with you. Dave Chappelle is a goat, and Eugene says he doesn't find him funny. What the hell? Explain yourself.
I think there's a thin line between, and I've seen this is a trend with American comedy now. It's lectures, it's TED Talks.
Oh,
So you get there and then you start going on a tangent about something, and then we must keep quiet and listen to you. And then we must chuckle so that you can get a break to gather your thoughts. And I'm like, that kind of comedy for me makes no sense. I struggle because I'm like, already I have an opinion about life. You can't come here and override my opinion with your opinion and disguise it as comedy. If you want to say something about transgender people, say it. Say it as yourself.
right.
Don't disguise it with comedy. It's
Don't
not
say
comedy.
it's
It's you.
it's part of my show. Yeah.
It's not. It's you saying it. If you wanna go for Republicans, go for them in your personal capacity. Don't say I'm doing comedy.
You know what? This is something, and again, I don't want to get serious because we're having a lot of fun and talking a lot of shit this morning, but something I would appreciate your feedback on is this idea of instead of laughter, it's clapter. It's this this thing that has become, there's that woman in New Zealand. What is her name? Hannah Gadsby.
Anna Gatsby. Oh, she's so awkward.
Okay, so she's the perfect example of what you're talking about here with Dave. And I hadn't thought about Dave being a representative of this at all. And maybe, this is because you watch comedy like a science and I don't. This Hannah Gadsby, she basically gets on stage and talks about how hard and horrible her life is as a lesbian and, what the problem, but it's not comedy. It's like, it's basically like a woke lecture. It's a TED talk. And when I watch her, I don't find it entertaining, although I do find it interesting. And that's the difference. So what happens is the audience go, oh, so true, so true. But it's not because they find it funny. And there is a difference between that. Now you've explained it to me really, really simply and very well. But there is a lot of that going on. Like I even see a lot of this on the late night shows now when they talk about politics and they're like lecturing you. Well, and I saw Trevor doing this the other night, and I was someone sent me a clip of him like where he was criticizing somebody for saying something about a black woman's experience or whatever. And it became like a lecture. He wasn't funny. He was like, and let me tell you, and I suddenly thought, that's the line. That's not funny. That's not comedy. That's not entertainment. Why are these people lecturing me? Isn't what I paid for.
Yes.
I came here to laugh. Right?
That's what Elon Musk was talking about. This woke culture
Right.
and this, you're right, I'm wrong. You don't have an opinion. Remember that now we've moved from the times of religion being the ultimate divider to opinions now being the ultimate divider. We're not allowed to
They are.
disagree anymore.
Correct.
We're not
And
allowed.
if you
Your
disagree-
opinion is gospel now.
If you and I disagree, we're enemies.
Yes. Your
We
opinion
can't-
now is the new gospel. If
Yeah,
you tout
like
it around long, if you're famous enough, if you're the Pope, because now all of these people run their own dominions. Now they run their own churches and saying, my followers think and we believe, and then anyone who disagrees with them will get mauled, So we've gotten to that state right now, and we're like, it's so sad. Sad.
Well, Pitleng is agreeing with you. He says, spot on, Eugene. That's what I get when watching all those late night shows disguised as comedy. I have a feeling that they even use some filter for who gets in on the audience. Yeah, they probably
Absolutely.
do. They do, right?
Absolutely.
Parallel Parking says, thank you. Dave Chappelle has been annoying for years now, and you put into words exactly what his stupid shtick is. Well done. I got to say, I still find the guy, like, he does have enough jokes to keep me.
Absolutely. That we can't argue with. But the stuff that gets him into trouble and into the headlines is not his jokes. It's his opinions on life as a almost 50 or 50-year-old man. And sometimes we forget to put age in someone's opinions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
there's different-
I find it, yes, a young person can tell a young person what to think. An old person telling a young person what to think, and if they disagree, it's a problem. Then now you're like, we're no different from that culture that said, cut your hair and get a real job and do the right thing and pay your taxes. When did we get here?
Yeah, the ultimate example of that was Bill Cosby, right? Who used to, in the 1980s, say to black kids, pull up your pants. Do you remember that? This was a guy who was basically date raping women for fun. And he has the cheek to tell like young black men in America, like, pull up your pants and go to school, pay attention in the class. Meanwhile, he's busy dropping pills in women's drinks all over America. Unbelievable.
I'm sorry to laugh, but you did Cosby so well. You did. And
Now,
you know what I
he's still
find weird
alive.
about Dave Chappelle?
No, he's alive and he's out, eh? He's back home. He's not in prison anymore.
You know what I find weird about Dave Chappelle? He doesn't live the life that he professes to live. He lives a very comfortable, quiet life surrounded by white people all over the place. So he doesn't live the life he
Are you
lives in.
saying that's very controversial? Are you saying that a life lived among black people is not common? And
Have you been to Black Twitter? Have you been to Langa Twitter?
Lunga, like it says, Lunga Twitter is much better than the rest of Twitter. So here's Mike. Mike Tyson actually said this. This is an amazing quote.
Oh, wow.
Social media made y'all way too comfortable with disrespecting people and not getting punched in the face for it.
Mike Tyson. There's a real quote from Mike Tyson.
Go,
That's
Mike.
good.
But
Go,
you know what
Mike.
I was disappointed by? And I feel like if Mike Tyson didn't punch that guy, he would have ranked higher as the all-time best puncher in the world, is the fact that the guy wasn't knocked out.
Yeah.
The guy
Yeah,
was
that
still
is-
talking with a little bruise, and then he was like, hey, hey. And then I was like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, boy.
But again, he's not the young man he used to be. Again, we have to factor age into this.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, the
Right.
guy-
Not Iron Mike
Look-
now. He's copper. He's soft steel. so-
The guy looked like he'd been bitten by a chihuahua. That was about it.
Yeah, he's like, and then
And
he
Mike,
went.
it's not tinfoil. He's not tinfoil, Mike. He's not
I think Mike was more angry that the guy didn't pass out. Yeah, because the guy was drunk, skinny, and young.
Yeah. So it's actually kind of embarrassing. Yeah.
It what you see now where we're getting to.
Okay. But this is why we got to talk it through. Again,
Exactly.
if
Exactly.
if you tried to have this conversation with a lot of people, just because we had a different opinion, we'd now be enemies.
Yes.
Oh, you can't say
Would now
that
be
about
canceling each other.
right. I don't like your take on this. This is bullshit. This is why I'm hoping that Elon will take over Twitter because we can get back
Oh
to having
man, I'm dying for that moment.
Mm.
Oh, I'm so
I'm gonna come-
dying for that moment.
I'm
yeah,
gonna come
but
back in-
it just takes a few weeks until he faces the same problems that the people who run Twitter do face now.
No.
No.
Because
No.
Twitter's actively getting involved in all of this. They actually
Yes.
they shadow ban people. They've got
Yes.
algorithms that push certain comments down and other comments up. They've got an
They
agenda.
give people followers.
Yes.
They sponsor opinions.
Mm-hmm.
You know, their most outrageous stand that they made was actually canceling Donald Trump. There they showed the
Outrageous.
world how much power they have.
I mean, the Ayatollah
When they were like,
in,
we can take you out.
the Ayatollah in Iran is still on Twitter. There are really bad people who've committed genocide and who have the most outrageous, backward, bigoted opinions imaginable.
Yep.
And they
Yep.
are on Twitter, but Donald Trump is not.
Yes.
When they
Yes.
took that stand, they made themselves part of the political problem rather than just
Yes.
being a platform. So I'm sorry,
And you know,
I hold no candle for them. I hope Elon takes over.
same.
fires.
Yeah. And you know, Elon posted a couple of weeks ago the top 5 people with the most amount of top 10 people with the most amount of followers and how much they tweet. And then that exposes to you how many people Twitter sponsors to
Mhm.
people that they like. So if Justin Bieber doesn't post, how come he's up there with the top 5s? He doesn't say
Right.
anything. Who are those millions of people? Who are they? They don't exist. And you see it mostly in South Africa with the amount of followers that South African celebrities have, but they can't push a product.
Correct.
And
That's exactly right.
I got slammed for this last month when I said, you know, Twitter Spaces and all sorts of other platforms like streaming and podcasts are going to take over radio one day. And people came for me, then said, who do you think you are? Radio still has mass appeal. I said, no, because you have fear of testing out your own virtual audiences. You will never venture out on your own because that takes consistency. That takes also honesty to yourself and also people that you've earned as fans organically versus the ones that you've been given. It will be shown. But it makes no sense that you've got 5 million followers, but you sell 50,000 albums throughout your whole career. How does that make sense? You don't have the followers. You only have the numbers because the numbers were sponsored because you are in this region over here and we're pushing the algorithm with you. And that's all we need.
Yeah, they've
then
got a system that works behind the scenes that pushes certain stuff up and pushes other stuff down.
Yes. And someone once told me that, and actually it was an article that I read. Yeah, that in China, young people on TikTok are actually sponsored and they get sponsorship if they are doing technology stuff on TikTok. Yeah, American youth are sponsored to do dances and put makeup on.
Yes,
so what
absolutely.
that will do is it will create a generation gap where Chinese youth are more technologically advanced and innovative. Then the American culture of consumerism will start again.
Absolutely. That's going on. Whether you like this or not, that is the absolute truth. Like China does not allow TikTok for people under a certain age. They just don't allow it. It's blocked in China. It's like you can't get WhatsApp or Facebook in China. And yet they've basically captured, in inverted commas, the American youth, and they've caught them in this trap of like putting up bullshit dance videos and things that just are completely unproductive. And people are getting followers, so they think they're successful, but it's not doing anything. It's a complete joke. And the Chinese are taking themselves very seriously, and they're allowing people in America to make a bunch of fools of themselves.
Mockery of themselves. True that. So South Africa, we got exposed that we don't have real fans when COVID hit. And we couldn't push anything online anymore. You know, we couldn't, everyone was clamoring. The most famous people were clamoring for jobs. That's how sad this is. The most famous people in this country were going, whew, I'm glad I've got a job at the SABC. I'm glad I've got a job at Jacaranda. And I'm like, you, the person that, no ways, guys, come on. So when I spoke up about radio and other streaming platforms, hey, people came for me, And yesterday when I said radio is interesting, I think it's a place that I'd like to venture into again. They said, you again? Then I was like, no. Yeah, radio is not just going to a studio somewhere. You know, radio is not just that. Why we are so scared in this country. We are frightened to death as famous people. Frightened to death of people knowing what we're earning, what we're really doing, because postulating and pretending we're doing well has become the order of the day. It has never been so easy to pretend that you're doing well. It's never been so easy in life. Before, in the township, you'd have to add an extra room and a garage, a double garage with no car, and big windows and a lawn and and a stop nonsense fence to pretend that you're doing well. It has never been so easy to pretend that you're doing well like it has been now for famous people. And you can see it. The most famous people in this country have jobs. J-O-B.
That is so interesting and so true. I mean, Zach is saying what I think a lot of people feel. Eugene is the voice of reason on today's show. It's quite eye-opening. Thank you, guys. I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday about, he went to gym and he saw a couple. They're obviously Instagram influencers, right? And this couple didn't actually do any training at the gym. They were basically like propping each other up for photographs. Like she couldn't even do the pull-up, but then he'd lift her up and then she'd hold on and he'd take the picture of her and then she'd kind of let go. And they were doing no exercise. It was a shit show.
We are coming to that gym, you and I.
But this is the point that you're making too, in a way, because the reality isn't. I think more people are in love with their fake selves than they are with their real selves. They hate their real selves. They're creating a fake version of themselves that they're actually way more comfortable with.
Hugely. Yeah. And I thought TikTok had got it right, where the better looking you are and the more famous you are, the less well you'll do on TikTok. You need to look like you've just got out of bed with your makeup down your face and look natural and, like everybody else. And for a moment there, I thought they got it right. But now there's so many people who are faking that just got out of bed look. The always holding the coffee. Like I was busy making coffee when I decided to make this TikTok. Now everyone's got onto it and now it's become fake again. Ugh.
Yeah, but think about it, Leigh-Ann. In this country, the crop of famous people in the last 10 years, tell me one of them that went to a township school and came from a township environment, hardship, and then all of a sudden became famous from their talent. Show me one person. There's not a lot of them. It's private school kids that are talking to people that struggled in life and saying that I'm part of you guys. But when they're with themselves, they're like, yo, man, bro, those people over there, hey. Like you said about Rick, you didn't know how much influence he had and how many people that he knew that had pull and power. Right. But the kids that follow him around didn't know this. To them, he was just a guy who's created. But that's been the trend. And as a black person, I can say this because I know these people. And you're like, but your fans don't know that you're actually having a good time in life and you came from a good family and you use your political influence or your business acumen to give you a good life. But then you pretend that for some kid, if you DJ well enough, you will make it in life. You're like, there's no such a thing. It doesn't exist that if you work hard, you will do well. That algorithm long died after the Second World War in America. You don't have to work hard to do well. It doesn't work like that.
No, it doesn't. I get emails from people every week saying like, will you give me a show? And, we don't operate on that basis anymore. We used to do, this, Eugene, because you used to often be a guest on the shows and you were regularly at Cliff Central. We used to do 40 shows a week and people had, an hour or whatever it was to do their thing. And, ultimately that doesn't pay for itself because everyone's already a content creator. Everybody's already putting their own stuff online. And we had to figure out a way to find the stuff that will make you money and focus on that. And it's a tiny, tiny percentage of the total amount of content that's out there. Only this many people can make that much money. It's the 80-20 rule. And it applies everywhere. 80% of the money will always be in the hands of 20% of the people, and 20% of the people will always earn 80% of the money. It's called the Pareto principle, P-A-R-E-T-O. That is the truth.
Today.
Go and look it up.
Daughter's gonna hear about it when she wakes up.
By the way, the Pareto
two slices
principle.
Of bread out. She's gonna hear it.
This is amazing. This Pareto principle applies to everything in the universe. It applies to the distribution of matter in the universe. It applies to the heat of stars. It applies to the size of planets. Everything is down to this basic Pareto principle, and it's amazing. Once you see the pattern, it doesn't bother you so much if you're not the richest or the poorest. You're like, okay, so it's not always my fault.
Yes.
Because sometimes it really isn't. Yes. Sometimes it's just the luck of the draw. All right, we got to wrap this up because we got to go to George Mienie. No, we're not finished yet. You stick around, Eugene. We still got like 10 minutes left. Eugene,
Oh, a
have you met George? George Mienie?
No,
is the
I haven't met George.
George
Eugene,
is the
how are
CEO
you?
of Auto Trader, and he is a regular on our show. He's one of the people who's been with us from day one. And George has got his own show on cliffcentral.com, and he's got his own regular show on the internet, which you can go to, the Auto Trader podcast, and that is on Mondays. We set out a brand new episode, but it's now also in video. George, I love those chairs that you guys use in your studio. It looks very, very cool.
It looks cool, Gareth, but it is hellishly uncomfortable.
Oh no.
Those are racing seats, right?
Yeah, so the actual car racing seats that we converted into office chairs. It used to be we had 8 of them. I think we still got 8 of them, and it used to be in one of the boardrooms, one of the meeting rooms. And if you sit on them for more than about 30 or 40 minutes, the sides of your thighs start to hurt because the seats are so narrow.
But George, that is a great way to keep meetings short.
Yeah, and it's a good way to keep racing drivers trying to finish faster so that they can get out of those damn seats.
Yeah, right. I want.
I love how your brain works, Gareth.
If you ever get rid of those seats, I'll put them in our boardroom because I cannot stand the meeting that goes on longer than 40 minutes.
Yeah,
that's a true story. You're absolutely right.
All right, what's happening in the world of motoring, George?
Well, you might like this one, Gareth, but Toyota has patented a dog walking autonomous vehicle. Okay,
so the vehicle walks your dog.
Yes, so looks something like that in terms of the patent. It looks very complicated, but this is how patents look. But just to give you an idea, there's the little dog, there's the little cart. A human can even get onto it. The dog can get onto it. So this dog walking autonomous vehicle. Now, the thing about this dog walking autonomous vehicle is that it's got cameras, right? And you don't need to accompany the dog walking autonomous vehicle, though you can ride on it if they've said that it's made for paraplegic people.
How lazy are we getting, really?
Exactly.
Leigh-Ann. George was still getting it. It's made for paraplegic people.
Oh, sorry.
Well, no, it's not, Eugene, not entirely. So
she went after the cripples. Leigh-Ann just hit the cripples right where it hurts. Oh my God, Leigh-Ann, you are.
I never knew that's what would cancel me eventually.
So, but this dog walking autonomous vehicle has cameras, right? And the cameras can pick up whether your dog is having a pee or a number 2. Okay. And if it has a pee, it shoots a stream of jet against the area that the dog had a pee. And if it has a number 2, it has a mechanism to pick up the poop as well.
No.
There are so many things that could go wrong, and I'm going to need better drawings before I use all these things. Because that little car is going to squash so many little dogs. I'm telling you now.
I'm so angry about this. You said you're going to like this, Gareth. I hate this, George. I hate this so much. The fact that there are people in the world designing shit like this that we don't need. Nobody in the world. If you're too lazy to walk your dog, you shouldn't have a dog. And if you have to design something this complicated to pick up its crap and to shoot a spray of water against where it pees, life has become so good for some people in Langa that they now need these cars. I just think it's outrageous.
So, George, did Toyota patent another robot or car to clean the poop out of the car that got the poop from the dog?
Right. What's going to happen?
Because if I was avoiding cleaning the poop, why would I want to do it later in the car?
There is an entire supply chain there, Eugene. An entire supply chain. Toyota's got it. They know what they're doing. They're taking over the
know what? If Toyota thinks this is how they're going to get back after all the other people that are launching better electric cars than them, I've got bad news, Toyota. It's not going to go well for you.
Yeah,
well, I didn't have this in the in what I was going to bring you, but it's a true fact though. If you think of Canon, Kodak, no, not Canon, sorry, Kodak, BlackBerry,
yes, all of those companies.
All of those companies used to be big. used to lead their markets. Is Toyota going down this road by avoiding electric vehicles? I'm not so sure.
I don't know. If you use Uber, Toyota's got a long runway still. Uber's all like Toyotas, all of them.
But then again, on the flip side, Toyota could be betting on the next big thing that is the step towards electric vehicles, which are hybrids.
This is not it. This dog walking thing is
golf
not.
cart.
Yeah, the poop scooping golf cart is not their winning formula. I'm telling you now, this is not it, George. If you're going to bet on this, you're on your own.
No, I'm not betting on the dog walking cart.
Keep our money out of it. Keep our money and Moose's money out of this.
Now, you know that in San Francisco, there's a company now called Cruise, but there's been a few companies that have got licenses to drive or to allow autonomous vehicles to drive on the road without any driver. And one of these autonomous vehicles in San Francisco got pulled over by police.
Oh, I think you mentioned something about this, and they didn't know who to arrest.
Well, the cops. I mean, if you watch the video, I've got the image.
Take
up
the
there.
battery.
But if you watch the video, you can see these cops. They kind of figure out what this is, but they don't quite know what it is as they walk up to it. They walk back to their car, and obviously the autonomous vehicle thinks that the cops are done with him, so it drives on. So they chase it again and they stop it again. They get out of their car. And they start circling around this autonomous vehicle. But the reason they stopped this autonomous vehicle was because its lights weren't on. It was nighttime and its lights weren't on, and they legitimately stopped the thing. But you could see this was new. This is new territory. Like, who do I know?
It's like when National Geographic puts in those fake animals, but it's a hidden camera. And all the animals are circling around it, like sniffing. They know it's supposed to be what it is, but they're just confused. Something's not right.
Imagine the Metro Police in South Africa trying to get a bribe out of a car that doesn't have a driver. Like, hey, Chief, pull down your window. And there's no one in the car. And they're like, how the hell do we get a bribe out of an electric car that doesn't have a driver?
But then the flap opens and it's got a Coke on it.
Toyota should be inventing that, because in this country they'll make money.
I got a dispenser. And then sticking with the electric world, what do you think happens when lightning strikes a hybrid or an electric car?
Well, the battery gets fried. The computer's gone.
Well, this car was disabled. This is a Toyota Prius, and the lightning struck the antenna on the roof. You know the little antenna that's on the roof of the car. The lightning struck the antenna. So these weren't regular kind of just people driving the road. These were storm chasers, and you get storm chasers in America, people that do crazy things. And they were chasing the storm, and
in a Prius.
In a Prius, exactly. And the Prius got struck by a bolt of lightning, disabled the car, fried some of the
said enough is enough.
Yeah, I'm going to say what the ICE vehicle people want me to say. God hates electric and hybrid cars. I'm just saying.
God said enough is enough.
Right.
So I mean, I don't know. Nobody was hurt inside the car. I mean, you know that a car is insulated because of the rubber touching the road. So there's no.
Is that really true? Like 100%?
Yeah, I mean, even airplanes have got struck with lightning. There's no real place for that lightning to go. It doesn't mean it doesn't damage the vehicle, but there's no place. It doesn't mean that it can't, cross the gap. From the car to the floor. So it's not entirely insulated, I don't think. And then very finally, Gareth, Auto Trader opened its doors on the 16th of April, 1992 in South Africa. Wow. Since then, South Africa became a democracy. We hosted the FIFA World Cup. The Y2K happened. And we evolved to becoming a fully fledged digital business.
Phenomenal. Look at this. George, this is your 30th birthday as Auto Trader.
This is our 30th birthday.
Congratulations.
Yes,
Yeah.
well done, Josh.
Congrats,
30th
man.
birthday.
That is fantastic. I don't know how many businesses have a 30-year lifespan. I mean, you were talking about Kodak and all of those businesses, which were big deals, BlackBerry, and to have evolved and to have lasted as long as you have, you had to evolve, right? I mean, I know that this is something you're very humble about, but you and your team have made Auto Trader a 21st century company, and congratulations, man. This is worth celebrating.
Very,
just wanna
very
throw-
proud of the team and the business and reaching that 30-year milestone, because
Well-
we were nearly taken out of the market, and maybe that's a show for another day. But I've got a whole story.
You know what, George? Survival is programmed into most of us, but it's not programmed into companies. And the fact that you and your team managed to avert the disaster that happened to Auto Trader in so many other places around the world. I mean, you mentioned Australia before, right? That just completely caved.
It's
Here in
because
South
you're
Africa,
the fittest.
it's because you're the fittest. Yeah, exactly. There we go.
Old Tyson,
But
Mike
George,
Tyson.
serious congrats. I've got to also tell you, we're doing a thing with BMW at the moment, which I think you'd be interested in. We're looking at the new iX, and we had Dr. Musa and Francisco Nwamba, who are two of our motoring journalists, who are busy looking at that iX. Oh my God, George, when you talk about electric cars, this thing is fully electric. It is magnificent. It's got one of those self-healing grills on the front, which is a phenomenal piece of technology. It's got that sunroof that when you touch the button, the electrically makes it either see-through, transparent, or opaque.
Solid.
It's so amazing. This thing, and it's got Swarovski crystal controls inside. It's magnificent, George. It is a different thing entirely in the world of electric cars. You've got to go and look at this.
Well, Gareth, I got the fortunate opportunity. BMW gave me the car approximately 2 months ago, and I took it down to the Orange Free State, and I managed to do 750 kilometers in it, charge it, do everything. And if you go onto my YouTube channel, you can go and follow my journey.
All right, just hang on. You got to plug this. This is George Mienie. This is your website that you just showed us now.
Yes.
So people have got to go and see that as well. Go to georgemienie.co.za and you'll find all of this stuff there. And you can also then subscribe to the YouTube channel and the rest. This is good stuff, George. Nice.
Yeah, so beautiful car. You're going to thoroughly enjoy it, Gareth. I think, from my point of view, the iX40 and iX50 are probably two of the most futuristic electric vehicle looking cars that are probably second to Tesla. When you climb in the car, it just feels like you're in a 21st century car.
Guys, we're going to have to end it there. Thanks for the fun. Eugene, it's so fantastic. I cannot tell you how much I've enjoyed having you here with us today, and I've missed you so much, man. It's been such a pleasure. Leigh-Ann, George, we will see you guys next week. Have an excellent weekend, everybody. Be good.
Bye.
Ciao.